And we back again. It's been a while. It's been since Monday that we've had an episode here on CBB Talk with Will Dickinson. But I had to put that little thing in there because I couldn't do Wednesday. Man, it's been a busy week, and so I couldn't put one out on Wednesday. But we're here there. I mean, there's a lot of college basketball games. We're not going to talk about every game from this week, but we're just going to talk about a lot of notable things. And let's start off with the number one team in college basketball does not like to win games. Maybe it's maybe that's what it actually is. Maybe teams are like, we don't want to be that number one team. We don't have that stigma. We don't have to have other teams come for us. We would rather be two. Because Alabama, of course, lost on Wednesday night to Tennessee in Thompson Bowling Arena, which they were underdogs in that one. And then I put Houston number one there. So, but a lot of people thought, oh, Purdue's back to being number one. And know what Purdue did last night? It was lose at Maryland. Purdue's now lost 3 out of 4. Alabama's lost. Now we have Houston as the number one team in the nation. They got the job done yesterday. And this Sunday, they go and play Memphis. So that's going to be a very highly anticipated match. But for Purdue, let's lead off with this Purdue Boilermakers team. Are people starting to fade Purdue? Yes. Am I the biggest believer in Purdue going to win the national championship? No, I never was. If I had to make my bracket right now, I wouldn't. It would blind. Not even seeing the teams. I wouldn't have Purdue in my Final Four. I don't know if I ever did. I still think they're one of the most elite teams in college basketball. I still have them ranked 4th in the country now, behind Kansas. And a lot of these teams, not all teams, but a lot of teams have gone through bad stretches. Kansas lost 3 in a row. Baylor lost 3 in a row. Texas has not lost 2 in a row, but they've lost 2 out of 3 before. Arizona's lost to some bad teams. Virginia almost lost to Louisville. So there's a lot of teams that go through rough patches, and Purdue's going through one right now, losing 3 games in a row on the road. And that's not something you love to see. You need to beat a Northwestern. You need to beat a Maryland. And both those teams are new in my top 25. Yes, congratulations to Northwestern making their first appearance of the year in my top 25 at number 20. And Maryland now in there at 25. So there's now 4 Big Ten teams in. This might be the most all year the Big Ten's had representation in my top 25. But yeah, Purdue, I'm not worried. Edey's still the player of the year. He's taken a small step back, I would say. He's not dominating as before as much as he was, a couple weeks ago. And it's because they've thrown more double teams at him. They're playing him different because if you're going to let other players beat you, okay. Fletcher struggled. And, Brain Smith had a good game. We've had good games from Mason Gillis. But if you're going to let Mason Gillis beat us, go ahead. Teams do not want Edey, their best player, to beat them, and that's understandable. I still think Purdue's going to win the Big Ten. I still think they're the best team in the Big Ten. But I don't think they're the number one caliber team right now, and I do think they're slipping. A lot of people are going to fade them. People might have them getting upset in that second round. Because I remember last year I had Baylor getting eliminated in the second round of North Carolina last year. Of course, I didn't have North Carolina in the Final Four. I had them losing in the I think I had them losing Sweet 16 to UCLA. But I did have him making the Sweet 16, and I could see a lot of people thinking, Purdue's going to be that second round exit like last year's Baylor team, which could happen. I wouldn't be too surprised. It depends on their matchup they can get. But Purdue, they're slipping right now. Will they be able to get back to, a comfortable lead in the Big Ten? Yes, but they still got to keep playing good. On Alabama's, that's just a tough team. Tennessee's still a good team, and they're up to number 11 in my rankings. Their offense is very inconsistent, but their defense is very consistent. And after that, they lost 2 buzzer beaters in a row there, and they got a bounce back win at home against Alabama. No one for Alabama really just had a great game, and you're going on the road there. Tough game to win for Bama, and they only slipped 1 spot in Houston. You're number 1. Hopefully you can hold on to it for a while because I'm assuming they're going to be the number 1 when the next poll drops if they win this weekend. Marquette, they beat Xavier, who's up to number 9. Marquette's now up to number 9, and Shaka Smarts might lead this team to a Big East championship in their first year. It's a great thing to see from this Marquette team. Not projected to be one, not really projected a tournament team this year. Projected 8th, 9th in the Big East, and they came out, and so far they're first place with only a couple games to go. Tyler Kulik, Sam Jones. Was it Cam Jones? It's Sam or Cam. I can never remember if it's Sam or Cam Jones. I think it's Cam Jones. Jones, Prosper. This team is a really good team, and Shaka Smart's done an amazing job. Going to be Big East Coach of the Year. It didn't play great against the Marquette. It was a home game. They haven't lost at home all year, and they avoid getting swept by Xavier. Xavier's dropped down to 14th. They're on a little skid, and they're missing Fremantle, which is a huge, averaging 15 points for this team. So that's a huge miss. And Sule Boom hasn't been as amazing as he was earlier this year. Nunji's been good, not great, and Colby Jones has been maybe their best player these last couple of games. I still think Xavier can make a deep run this tournament. They just need to get back to being healthy. Hopefully that can happen in the Big East tournament. Because if you win the Big East tournament, you're probably gonna be buying for a 2 seed if you're Marquette. With a lot of these Big East teams, might slip off in the Big East tournament earlier. We never talked about Indiana. They lost. We were talking about Northwestern's earlier. They beat Indiana at home. Northwestern's playing really good basketball. Shout out to Chris Collins. Led this team to probably going to most likely making the NCAA tournament. It's great to see from Northwestern on a hot seat year. In Indiana, it's a tough one going on the road after you just beat Purdue. Now you gotta go and play. But you didn't just beat Purdue. They've been on a nice little win streak. They beat Purdue 2 weeks ago. I don't know why I said just beat Purdue, but they've been on a nice little win streak. And you slip up here at Northwestern. You drop to 19 in my rankings. But I still really do like Indiana. I'm not fading Indiana by any means. This is a tough game to win. FAU lost last night. They were up to 19 in my rankings. Now they dropped completely out. I don't see them getting way back in. That opened up the spot for Maryland. And Creighton and Texas A&M are 2 teams that I really like. Texas A&M's got a big game this weekend. They got a nice win against Arkansas to avoid getting swept by them. And Buzz Williams will lead this team to an NCAA tournament. They're on the bubble for some reasons because their non-conference schedule is terrible. But Texas A&M, I think, is the second best team in the Big Ten. Oh, not Big Ten, SEC, right behind. Oh, third best team in the SEC, right behind Alabama and Tennessee. Then I have Texas A&M right there. But it's very competitive. One team that's not competitive is Kentucky. Lost to Georgia this week. That's not too good. Did they lose to Georgia this week? Now I'm like second guessing everything I said. Like, I don't know. I think I'm getting my weeks messed up. I think they beat someone. 1 second. Yeah, I am stupid. They lost Georgia on Saturday and then beat Mississippi State on the road. That's a big win for Kentucky just to keep their hopes alive. Something that UNC couldn't do, but I called that. I don't know how UNC was 6-point favorites against Miami. Miami has potential to be a Final Four team this year. I really do believe that. It's really cool to see the way they've been playing this year. Just Jim Lane there are doing another great job. Nigel Pack, such a good transfer. Isaiah Wong, such a good player. Trust me on this. Miami has Final Four potential. They made the Elite Eight last year as a 10 seed or a 7 seed. They were I can never remember if they were 7 or 10. They were either 7 or 10. But this year they can do it again. They're going to be higher seed. The guard play from this team. And Jordan Walker is taking a step there to be, that third option and a reliable 4 for them. A team like TCU is a team that's just fallen off. They need Mike Miles because without them, they're terrible. If Mike Miles wasn't on this TCU team, they would not be an NCAA tournament team. And they're falling to what they kind of were last year, that 9-8 seed. And they may fall lower because right now I think they're on the 4-game losing streak without Mike Miles. And they're just not playing good. Lost to Iowa State. It's hard to win in names. No team's done it this year. It's hard to win in Ames, and I understand that. But still, they've been sucking recently. And then I'm not gonna say it's understandable without Mike Miles, but if you want to save, you get your they lost Oklahoma State on the road at home. So there's only one team to do that this year, and Oklahoma State, took a tough loss to Kansas earlier this week at home. But Kansas and Kansas State is a team that is also a team that I was kind of right on. I don't know if you guys remember this, but a couple weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, when they were struggling, I said this. I wish I could be like roll the clip, but I said that Kansas State is going to face reality. They had a hard schedule coming up, and I saw them slipping. They were projected last in the Big 12, and they were having a really good season. I think the highest they got up to was 4-3 in my rankings, and now they're on a losing streak. I think they lost 5 out of the last 7 games, not playing good basketball. And I think they're trying to hit reality. They're still an NCAA tournament team. They could still win games in the NCAA tournament. But I think they're finally kind of dropping back to earth, hitting that kind of they skyrocketed early, hit their capacity, and now they're, declining. So we'll see where this takes Kansas State. They got a good game this weekend play. But right now, I think they're kind of hitting reality and seeing where this team, really is. Still a good team, but not an elite team is Kansas State. And we'll see this weekend if they can get this win. So when we get back, we'll get into this weekend rundown, baby. So let's get into this weekend, because guess what? Football's over. We got the NBA All-Star shit. Sorry, God. I said shit. I was like, oh, I don't want to curse on this, and then I did. And I was like, okay, that actually made me laugh though. Anyways, so we got this. We got some NBA All-Star stuff, but it's kind of college basketball's time to come out and be like, we're the main event. I guess NBA All-Star game's my main event, but fuck that. Oh God. Sorry. I'll try better. Anyways, let's go look. Illinois, Indiana. Illinois lost to Penn State earlier this week. Indiana also lost at Indiana. I expect a dub from the Hoosiers. Their tri-void back-to-back losses probably slip out of my top 25. Virginia. That game was the most frustrating game on Wednesday night, and it was my back burner. I didn't even want to watch because it was Louisville, and then now I'm watching this game, and I'm just like, we're only up 4. We're only up 3. We're only up 5. We're only up 4. We won the game. But jeez, that's like losing. Being Louisville by 3 is like, it's like losing, honestly. Rutgers at Wisconsin, both teams. I don't think Wisconsin's making the tournament. And damn, Rutgers better win this game, because at this rate, you're kind of slipping. You might be in the first 4. Rutgers, they could be a first 4 team. There, UConn hosting Seton Hall. I expect UConn to keep getting these dubs. They're playing way better recently, even though they lost last weekend. Still expect them to get that dub there. Tennessee trying to get revenge at Kentucky. If you guys don't remember, a couple of weeks ago, Kentucky won in Thompson Bowling at Kentucky in a great game, and that was one of the games for Kentucky. It was just like, that's the potential Kentucky has. And then we thought for a second maybe Tennessee is not a good win. They played really good this week against Bama. If Tennessee can get a 2-0 week going against Bama and at Kentucky, that'd be good. Kentucky needs this win badly to, up their tournament chances, because right now I think they're above their first 4 out or last 4 in. Iowa State, Kansas State, 2 teams have been piss poor recently. Really just struggled, these Big 12 teams. And I mean, there's 3 Big 12 teams. I think the top of the Big 12 is kind of separating himself, which is Kansas, Texas, Baylor in any order. Probably Kansas 1, and then Baylor and Texas are so close to each other. And then these 2 teams, were up in that conversation. I think they're solidify themselves with the 4 and 5s, and then TCU in Oklahoma State are the 6 and 7s in this conference. And Kansas State needs to win this game. Iowa State is not a great road team this year. Kansas State, 2.5-point favorites at home. They've lost 5 out of 7. Iowa State hasn't played good either. We'll see if Kansas State can get it done. That's all I need to say. We'll see if Kansas State can get it done. Texas hosts Oklahoma. Should be a win for Texas. TCU hosts Oklahoma State. Will Mike Miles be back ever? Hopefully in this one. And Oklahoma State trying to hold into a tournament bid can get a win at TCU. TCU loses this one. It might. I would be worried if I was a TCU fan. I would be worried if you're not already. Miami hosts Wake. Miami. I love the way Miami's playing. Wake doesn't have a quad one win, so should be a Miami dub. And then the game of the week's at 4, which I love. A 4 o'clock tip, especially with All-Star game on. Our All-Star events like this dunks, 3-point skills stuff on Saturday night. So we have Baylor, Kansas. I can't wait for this game. 2 of the hottest teams in the country, 2 of the best teams in the country. One team that is led by this great, most improved player, Jalen Wilson, one of the best, 2 of the best coaches, a great freshman, Grady Dick, and a lot of amazing role players against this Baylor team who has the best guards in the country and another amazing coach, and they're getting their bigs back to being healthy. It's going to be an amazing game. Keontae, Grady Dick, great freshman matchup. And what's made this Baylor team different is having LJ Cryer there. He's asserted himself as, one night he can be the best player. One night he can take that best back step and let Flagler and Keontae cook. And that's the difference between last year's and this year's Baylor team is that they have a healthy LJ Cryer. Jonathan Tamatach is back. Baylor's playing really good basketball, but going to Allen Fieldhouse and playing Kansas, that's a hard game to win. I don't know if I really expect Baylor to win, but I'm just excited for Kansas Baylor because these 2 teams I could see playing in the national championship. I could see them playing in the Big 12 championship. I could see them playing in the Final Four. That's how good both those teams are. That was the 4. No, not a lot of games at the 4. So that game will really just be the main stage. Pitt goes at Tech. Tech's not a tournament team, but Pitt's going on the road, Virginia Tech. Woo! That's a hard place to play in Blacksburg. And we'll see if Tech's legit. Jeff Capel's looking. No, they're first place in ACC. They're tied for first, but they would be the number 1 seed in the ACC tournament if it ended today. So let's see if Pitt can, hold on and get a dub here because Virginia's hosting Notre Dame. So Virginia's trying to get that first place locked up. Duke going at Syracuse. Syracuse doesn't have a quad 1. I don't know if this would even be quad 1 if you won at home against Duke. Syracuse is not good. I don't like Syracuse, so I'll actually root for Duke. I don't really like Duke either, but I don't like Syracuse at all. A&M goes at Missouri. That's an interesting SEC matchup, fighting for that 3rd, 4th spot, 5th spot in SEC. Missouri Missouri got into my rankings maybe one for one day, and then they got blitzed against Auburn. Like, capital B, blitzed. I checked that score. I wasn't watching, and I go 40-something to 18. Good win for Auburn, dude. They needed that. Missouri at home. A&M's playing really good basketball recently, so that's going to be a tough one. You saw what Gonzaga did at LMU. They scored 68 in the first half. Just saying, that was, Michigan State, terrible tragedy that happened this week in them. I think everyone's rooting for them. They have to go at their rivals, Michigan. I'm pulling for Michigan saying that one. I think the whole country really should be after what happened this weekend on campus. Just hoping for the best and rooting for Michigan State for sure. And what Tom Izzo gave that speech, that was uplifting, heartwarming, and just Tom Izzo, one of the greatest coaches ever. Nevada goes at Utah State. Nevada's 20th, let me check. 21st in my rankings at Utah State. That's not an easy place to play. Utah State, probably not a tournament team this year, but they have a case. And that's really it. St. Mary's plays home against BYU on Saturday. And then let's go look at Sunday, because I know Sunday has a couple good games. I love how Ohio State gets these CBS sports games, and they suck. So I think it's just funny. They always be getting the CBS games. Not CBS sports. They just get the CBS game at 1. and there's not a good team. So it's kind of funny. Purdue win that game. UNC State at 1 on Sunday is real good. North Carolina loses this one. I'm kicking their ass out of the tournament for now. They might not even be in it right now. Honestly, I don't know if I had to make my bracket, would UNC be in it? I'm not sure. But I damn know if they lost this game, they wouldn't be. NC State coming off a loss at Syracuse. Let's see if they can, pick one back up at home and after losing their North Carolina earlier this year. That'd be a really good win. That might be their first quad one if they win that one. I'm not 100% sure on that. And really, there's 2 more good games. Memphis at Houston's good. Memphis is the best team in the American. Houston, I think, is the best team in the country as of now. Houston still has to play at Memphis later in the year, but this game's going to be really good. I love Houston. This team just, a lot of people like to hate them because they play in the American. That's not their fault. Yes, they lost to Alabama earlier this year, but they've been dominating opponents recently. Of course, they had that loss against Temple no one likes, but since then, they've played amazing basketball. And Houston does it every year. They go in the tournament and win some games. And they're going to do that this year. Memphis, I'm not sure if they're going to win a game in the tournament this year, but I think they will make it. And then the last real good game is Iowa against Northwestern. At home again for Northwestern, so they're getting a good homestand here. Should be a win. I mean, they just beat Indiana, they beat Purdue, so being Iowa shouldn't be a challenge. But I could just see them losing that game. I could. I would not be surprised at all if Northwestern wins, I'd be like, good job, Northwestern. Way to win a game you should. But if they lost, I'd be like, makes no sense. It's Northwestern. I will probably win this game. But that's really it. I mean, I'm sorry for not posting earlier this week. It's been a crazy week. I'll put the top 25. I posted it on Wednesday because I had no episode. So I just want to give you an update what my rankings look like. But of course, I put it in the description below. Thanks for watching. Peace out.